Hi and welcome to today's live stream on this beautiful Monday afternoon here in Sweden at Logosol in Härnösand, Sweden. Today we are going to give you a live demo on our new electric chain sawmills, the ES5 and the ES8. And today we actually have a special guest here. Besides me and Karin, we have Tom Fox. He came all the way from
Maine, the U.S.
In the U.S.
Yes.
Great.
Welcome, Tom.
So,
Welcome.
thank you for having me.
Yeah, nice to have you here.
I'm excited to see the electric motors.
Yeah,
In action.
in action.
Yes.
And
I've heard a lot about these.
Yes, and
Yeah.
you will see a lot about them. And
Okay.
perhaps you'll even get to try one.
Okay.
Yeah? Cool.
Spännande.
Yeah. Very exciting.
Yeah.
If you are interested in Logosol and our products, you can go to logosol.com, where you will find all pricing and more information about Logosol and our products online. And we've done a few of these live streams already. We've done over 60 live streams only during this year. So if you're interested in watching the previous live streams, you can go and check out our Facebook page or our YouTube channel, and just search for Logosol Portable Sawmills, and you'll find all the content online. And if you visit our homepage, check out the banner on top where you can sign up for our newsletter, and we'll send out approximately one newsletter every month, and containing the first newsletter will actually be digital customer magazine from Logosol. And then you'll get the newsletter every month with more information from Logosol, new products, running new campaigns, and more inspirational content as well. So let's get started and just present the machines we have here right now. One more thing. Remember to ask your questions in the chat. We'll try to answer as many questions as possible. So it could be anything regarding Logosol and our products, and of course, if you're interested in the electrical chainsaws here, just type them in the chat, and we'll look out for the questions and try to answer as many as possible. So today we have the Logosol F2 Plus.
Okay.
You've sold a lot of these in the US.
Yes. Yes, we've got a lot of interest in these.
Yeah. And this is the standard length F2 Plus, and it can cut logs up to 3.7 meters long without an extension, and logs up to 70 centimeters in diameter. And I don't know what that converts into inches and feet.
Yeah. 12 feet long and 27 inches.
27 inches.
Yeah.
So that's the standard mill, and it comes with two log beds, but you can of course extend the mill for basically as long as you require.
Yeah.
We got all the information on our webpage, and you can also find the extensions and other accessories as well. On this mill, we have the ES8, which is an 8 kilowatt 400 volt three-phase motor, and it's 50 hertz, so it's made for European electricity.
Yes.
Yes. And on the other side here we have the F2, and the F2 can mill logs up to 50 centimeters in diameter, 25 inches, and the same length, 16 feet, or 3.7 meters in length, and that's the standard length. Of course, the same goes as for the F2 Plus. You can extend it for, as long as you require.
Yeah.
The kind of timber you're milling, and I think 16 feet is kind of a standard length in the US.
Yeah. So that would be the six.
The 6 meter.
Yes.
And what's 3.8 meters or 3.7 meters in?
3.8 meters. The 12 feet.
12 feet. So basically 12 feet is what you can mill with this
Yes.
standard length. But with the extension, if for an F2 6 meter or an F2 plus 6 meter, you can mill up to 16 feet. And 16 feet is a standard lumber length, or what do you say? Timber.
Log length.
Log length. And the on the F2 we have the ES5, which is a 5 kilowatt motor, and we have chosen for this demo to equip this with the simple crank feed system, which means that you have a crank here and a feeding line or rope that connects to the other side of the guide rail. So what you do is you actually crank the chainsaw forward through the log, and you have everything on the chainsaw carriage itself. You have the electrical connection, the 16-phase inlet. What do you call this?
On-off stop switch.
Stop switch or safety switch is perhaps a better word. You have the on-off switch here and the safety switch that you need to keep pushed down all the time when you're milling, and when you release it, the saw will stop. So the ES5 and the ES8 are built in the exact same way. The only difference is the electrical motor with different power. So it's got the normal type of guide bars. You can use the same guide bars as you're using on your regular chainsaw, the Steel MS661, for example. And also the older electric chainsaw mills from Logosol also have the same type of guide bar mount. So it's very easy to get hold of guide bars for the chainsaw. We've chosen to work with Canon bars in Canada to provide really good, high quality guide bars for our mills. So we have from 50 and 70 centimeter guide bars from Canon that we sell together with the electric chainsaws and for our other petrol chainsaws as well. And they work really well for milling, and they are really tough. They are hardened more than a regular guide bar, I would say. And the groove, and they're made in one solid piece, and the groove is cut with a really good tolerance so that the chain sits really tight when you're using it. And that's actually preferable, because then you get a really nice cut and a nice surface finish. And this is together with the ripping bar that we sell from Steel, makes for a really good cut. And this ripping bar, or ripping chain, sorry, is actually a bit different compared to a normal cross-cutting chain. And that's the top plate angle here is only 10 degrees, but on a cross-cut chain it's 30 or 35 degrees. You can rip with a cross-cut chain as well, but with this type of chain you get a really nice surface finish that we can take a look at when we made a cut with this one as well. So, are you prepared, Tom?
I am.
I have my operator, Tom Fox, here.
Okay.
He's gonna show you the
So go through.
chainsaw. Yes, the safety switch needs to be pushed down. You press the start button, the motor will start spinning, and then just listen to the sound and slowly feed the guide bar and chain through the wood.
Okay.
And then when you made it all the way through, just release that safety switch and the motor will stop.
Okay.
So, ear protection on.
That was beautiful.
Well done.
Very nice cut.
Yeah?
Very nice cut. And so super smooth.
Yeah, and we can look at the surface finish here.
Yeah.
It really leaves a smooth and nice surface. Almost like it's planed.
Look at that. No hesitation. Came right through.
Do you feel the smell? Birch?
Yes. Beautiful.
Felt nice, right?
Yeah.
Compared to standing in the exhaust fumes and the sound of the petrol engine.
It's quiet. It's got a nice torque.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a big difference.
It is a big difference.
A three-phase motor is really efficient and it's got a really high torque as well. Mm-hmm. And it's kind of nice with the walk along feed.
Yeah.
It's kind of soothing.
Yeah. You're right at the right height.
Yeah. And then just when you take it back to prepare for the next cut, it's just to pull it back along the rail and then prepare for the next cut. And then on all Logosol mills, we have a locking mechanism for the log bed that had increments of quarter of an inch, and that's basically the saw curve. So that makes it really easy to calculate the curve when you're cutting board after board after board. So now we're actually lifting it up 4 clicks and then 1 click for the curve. Mm-hmm. So you don't have to think that much. So if you want to do a 4-inch or a 2-inch board, for example, you lift it up 8 clicks and then 1 extra click for the curve. So really easy to use, and the chainsaw is really strong, and this is only the 5 kilowatt engine, and it still produces a lot of power. But we're going to go over and look at the 8 kilowatt as well, and it's got even more power and torque, which makes that machine more suitable for someone that's milling a lot. Okay. And I mean really large dimensions as well, because you can benefit from the higher power and torque more on that kind of machine. So, and what else to say about the ES5? We have it's got an oil pump. It's actually the same oil pump that you find in a chainsaw. So this is exactly the same oil pump that's on an MS661.
Okay.
And the same kind of drive. So it's really proven technology. And the oil pump takes oil from the container above and pushes it in the guide bar, just as on any normal chainsaw, like a petrol chainsaw.
So how long, what could we expect for the electric motors? How long are these going to last? And what about the chainsaw bar? Is that going to last as long?
No, I mean the motor
Yeah.
will last you basically a lifetime.
Okay.
I mean, if you're not running in more of like professional or production, if you're running it every day, 8-10 hours a day, of course it will have a lifespan of, I don't know, it's industrial 3-phase motors.
Okay.
They will probably last for 10-15 years.
And what kind of maintenance would you be looking at with these?
With an electric motor?
Yeah.
None.
Okay.
I mean, the only thing you need to do is keep it clean.
Yeah.
I mean, if you have compressed...
Airbrush it.
Yeah, airbrush. Yeah, if you have compressed air, or just brush it off, that's enough. But you have a belt drive underneath here, and the belt is a wear and tear part that you will have to change eventually.
Okay.
I mean, after a year or 2 years.
Yeah.
So it's always good to have an extra belt around in case something happens with it. And then you have the same type of chain drive. It's a sprocket,
Okay.
a sprocket or a rim sprocket. And I mean, you need to change those in a regular interval as well. I mean, when you're using the... We normally recommend to change the sprocket if you run 3, 4, 5 chains, and when you are done with those chains and start with the new set,
Okay.
change the sprocket.
Change the sprocket, clean the bar, treat it like a regular.
Yeah,
regular
and the
maintenance.
bar will also last you a long time as long as you
Maintain.
it.
Yeah.
I mean, take off the edges of the what do you call them? The bar, the edges of the bar. Besides
they'd
the
be the
groove.
drive length, the drive links, the edges of the chain.
No, the edges of the guide bar.
Okay. Yeah. It's no special word. Just the edges of the guide bar.
No,
You
yeah,
got
the
it.
edges. Yeah, I mean, you have
Inside the groove.
inside the groove on the on the top of the guide bar.
Exact.
Take those sharp edges off and keep it flat and squared against. Yeah.
And that's really going to help with the nice smooth surface because you're not going to get the flutter in the chain.
No, exactly.
So we treat the electric chainsaw bar almost the same.
Yeah, the same way as you
would with a regular.
you would with a regular
Okay.
one. And I mean the sprocket and everything, same as you would with the petrol chainsaw. So the only thing that's extra, so it's actually less maintenance on an electric chainsaw, since the motor doesn't need any regular maintenance.
Excellent.
So the dry belt, and then the rest is the same. And perhaps you need to change the worm drive that drives the oil pump.
And so all of those components are going to be the same on the E8000.
Yeah, the ES8.
The ES8.
Yeah.
And so,
So the only difference is
the size.
Is the size of the motor.
size of the motor. Okay.
So we have the same type of oil canister, the bar nose steering. It's also the same type, and this is actually this bar nose steering. You can actually purchase it and attach it to the regular chainsaw carriage as well.
Okay.
Same as this simple crank feed. That's also the same. So the carriages are very similar between the chainsaw and the electric chainsaw. So on the F2 and F2 Plus, you get a simple carriage with it, and on that carriage you can purchase this guide bar steering and the crank feed system. So you can have both of those on the regular chainsaw carriage. And this bar nose support can actually handle guide bars up to 70 centimeters.
Okay.
So, and this is a 50 centimeter guide bar that's on here now. 20 inch.
Excellent.
So up to 70.
And so the difference in the mechanism between this one and that one, same.
We're going to look at the feed system, because here it's a simple crank feed and you walk along the mill when you're milling. On the ES8 we can actually walk over there right now. Yep, we have a question.
ES5, yeah.
Yes.
It's actually a comment, but I think we can answer to that. Mary, she thinks it's too slow. And we made this competition, perhaps we could comment.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, cutting with the chain and guide bar looks slower than cutting on a bandsaw mill, for example. And that's actually due to the nature of the guide bar and chain. It gives a 1/4 of an inch curve. On a bandsaw mill, it's an 1/8 of an inch. So there's a big difference in the curve and how much material you take away. And that also shows up in the cutting, the speed of cutting through the log. But we actually did a live stream a week ago.
Yeah.
A week ago.
Exactly,
Where we
a week
actually
ago.
had a competition. We had 3 sawmills. We had 1 bandsaw mill one chain sawmill with the electric saw, and we had one chain sawmill with the petrol saw. And it actually turned out that the chain sawmill with the electric chainsaw was faster in cutting up the same size log during this live stream. And I mean faster, I didn't mean that the cut that you made, the speed of the cut isn't faster, but the speed of the cut, or the time you're actually milling through the log, is actually not a big part of the complete process of converting a log into lumber. The cutting through the log is perhaps, I don't know, 20% of the time or less.
Yeah. I would also note that the stability of that cut and the deflection with a stiff bar like this, if you look at how smooth and perfect that.
Yeah, compared to a bandsaw mill. And if you haven't seen that live stream, you can find it on our Facebook page and on YouTube at Logosol Portable Sawmills. So check that out and you'll see how fast these machines really are. And now, I mean, during this, it was Tom's first time running it. Perhaps he could have ran it a little faster, but still, the speed of the cut isn't so important, is what we found out during our competition. But a thing to note is, of course, the bandsaw mill could make a few more cuts in the same log due to the less material taken away. So we could get a higher exchange out of the log with the bandsaw mill, the curve, due to the curve being half on the bandsaw mill. So, but the F2 Plus with the electric saw actually won.
Okay.
He milled the log faster than the bandsaw mill, and we had the same size logs on all three.
If you haven't seen it, Tom, you have to.
It's a really
super cool live demo.
Nice.
Super cool live demo. So I hope that answers your question. So we'll go over to the F2 Plus here with the ES8. And as I explained before, this is the same chainsaw except the motor. The motor is a big 8 kilowatt motor. It's still 3-phase, 400 volt, 50 hertz. And I forgot to mention actually that the slides, the plastic slides that slides on the rails, is actually the same as the chainsaw carriage, and they are adjusted or adjustable, so you can actually adjust the tension on the edge, on the lip here of the guide rail, so you can get it to fit perfectly on all chainsaw mills. So, but this one has got a remote crank feed, which means that you will be standing here all the time when you're operating the chainsaw. So it's still a crank feed, but you got this wire that goes around a wheel on the other end where you have the wire tensioner. So you can tension this up to get friction on the drive wheel here. And it's attached under the chainsaw like this with just a simple knot on the wire, a self-locking knot. And this one is actually, it's got some nice features to it. Right now we have the hand crank on the right side, but this is actually built so that you can have the crank on the left or the right side. So if you are stronger in the left side, or if you feel that you want to switch hands, you can actually put the crank on here and feed it with your left hand. And another thing is also that you have three positions to put the crank on. So if you put it higher or longer from the center, you'll get stronger, but you will feed a bit slower. And if you put it closer to the center, you can feed it faster with smaller movements, but you'll be a bit weaker.
And what do you recommend for people that are just getting started? What is the standard handle length and position that you use?
I don't know. I haven't tried them all.
Uh-huh.
Now it's in the middle position,
Okay.
and I guess I could prefer to feed a bit faster
Okay.
because I feel a bit stronger
Okay.
today.
Nice.
No, but anyway, it's a matter of I don't know.
Preference.
Preference.
Yeah.
Exactly. And this also got a nice feature,
Okay.
which means that you can actually disconnect the electric box and take it inside when you're ready for the day. And then you can just attach it again. So it's just a simple knob here with a thread that you put in place and just attach it, and it's in position again, and you're ready to start milling. So that's good when you have the equipment outside and you're milling for a day. You can just take the electric box inside instead of having it. It's fully protected to be outside, but I mean, when you take care of the equipment,
Yeah.
it'll last longer. So, but as you can see, it's the same type of box.
Yep.
So it's exactly the same box with exactly the same connections, but in this version we have a long cable that actually follows the chainsaw all the way. So the only electronics are in this box. So in the motor you only have the motor connections.
And what about the chain speed between this saw?
It's exactly the same
Exactly
chain speed.
the same chain
Yeah.
speed.
So you'll see the difference
Okay.
or feel the difference.
Yeah.
And that there is no difference. So we'll make this ready for one cut here. You want to try it?
I do. I do. So same start.
Same procedure as last time.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
That
is one smooth cut.
But that was a bit faster than the other one.
Yeah. Look at this.
You got a bit more confidence there.
Look at this.
Yeah, really nice.
Very,
and a
very
nice wood as well.
Yeah.
And a nice smell. And then to take it back to the start position, you can either just crank it back here, or you can go and just get it and pull it back.
Okay.
And it's always good to remember to do that before
you
start
raise it.
lifting up the log for the next cut. Great.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Do we have any questions?
No, we haven't.
So what do we say? The ES5 and the ES8. What type of customer is the best fit? I mean, I would say that the ES5, perhaps with the simple crank feed, is for someone that's not planning to mill that much, even though it's really capable. And the ES8 is if you know that you're going to mill large logs, and you're going to mill a lot of logs at a time. I mean, not completely all the time, but when you're milling logs, you're milling 20, 30, 40, 50 logs at a time. Then the ES8 is a very good choice. And the ES5, if you have larger logs occasionally, or if you're milling a few weeks every year or a few months every year and just 10, 15 logs at a time. So it's a bit different depending on your need. And the crank feed or the remote crank feed is more personal. I mean, of course, it's a bit more comfortable to stand over here. You're not in the way of the sawdust shooting out from the chainsaw. Less noise, and the crank feed, simple crank feed, where you walk along. It's more the economical solution. So
What are the big differences in the older M8 non-farmer's mill and these newer models?
The biggest difference is,
Yeah.
Was it the M8 or the F?
Yes, M8.
The M8.
Not compared with the farmers.
Perhaps one of the biggest differences between the M8 and these new F2 and F2 Plus chainsaw mills is probably the difference between the vertical log posts, log rests, and the distance between the guide rail. On the older mills, we have less distance between this vertical log rest and the guide rail. And of course, when you have logs with big knots, or when you have a log that's a bit bent, it's preferable to have a bit more space here so that you have clearance between the chainsaw carriage and the log. So that's probably the biggest difference. Then it's the same type of log lifting system. The M8 is a bit longer. It was 5.5 meters long, and these ones are 4 meters standard length. But of course, as you know, you can extend this one as well. But I think that's probably the biggest difference, this space between them. It's the same guide rail profile, and you can use the same type of electric chainsaws, the new ones on your M8. You can also use the clamps, the new XL log clamps. They are excellent and they work really well, and it's actually a big improvement on an M8, for example, or an M7. They fit them as well. So I hope that answers your question.
What is the weight of the sawmill with all features?
The weight of the sawmill with all features, the sawmill itself weighs about, the F2 Plus weighs 60 kilos, and the F2 50.
Less, I think.
Less?
Yeah.
No, I think it's 50.
Okay.
So the F2 and F2 Plus, 50 and 60 kilos. With the additional saw units, of course, the saw unit alone is 45 kilos. So the saw unit itself weighs almost as much as the chainsaw mill. But the chainsaw mills are made of aluminum, which makes them light, even though they're big and can handle large logs. And the chainsaw units, the electric chainsaw units, are quite heavy. The electric motor contains a lot of copper, so it's really heavy. And especially the ES8 is a bit heavier than the ES5. So all in all, 100 kilos for the total equipment weight. But you're not, when you're transporting these chain sawmills, you can actually, on the F2 Plus, you can lift off the chainsaw unit, of course. You can lift that off and take it separately. And then on the F2 Plus, you can actually remove the top part of the sawmill. So you can actually keep the guide rails intact and set up for operation. But you can split them down here, which means that you have 1, 2, 3, 4 parts that if you want to move it to another site, for example. So you can actually put this on the roof, and you can put the chainsaw and the log lifters in the back of your car.
Mm-hmm.
And on the F2, on the other hand, you can't lift up off the whole like guide rail sections. You have to take the sections part by part, so it takes a bit more time to set it up on a new site. And the F2 Plus is much easier to set up since the guide rail and everything is all set up for operation.
How big logs can you mill on the F2 and F2 Plus?
Yeah, on the F2 Plus you can mill logs up to 70 centimeters in diameter, which was
27.5 inches.
27.5 inches. That was exact. Have you been studying? And on the F2 you can mill logs up to 50 centimeters in diameter, which is
25 centimeters.
50 centimeters.
50 centimeters.
20 inches. 20 inches. Yeah. So logs up to 70 centimeters on the F2 Plus and logs up to 50 centimeters on the F2. And lengthwise, you can add on extensions, so you can basically mill for as long as you require. If you need to mill 16 feet, 14 feet, was it 14? 14 feet, you can purchase an F2 Plus 6 meter long with 3 log lifters. So you get 3 supports under the log and you can mill logs 14 feet long.
Yeah.
Yes. More questions?
No,
No
not
more
at the
questions.
moment.
Ja, men kom då. So
Oh, okay.
let's wrap it up.
It was a bit chilly in the tent.
Yeah. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this live stream about the Logosol ES5 and the ES8, our new electric chainsaws. And you can find them online as well if you go to logosol.com. I think you can search electric chainsaw on there and you'll find them, ES5 and ES8. If you have any more questions that that you weren't able to ask during the live stream, you're welcome to send us an email at info@logosol.com or give us a call. You can find our telephone number if you go to our webpage, logosol.com. So, and thank you to our guest,
Yes.
Tom
and
Fox.
thank you for showing me the electric mills.
Yeah, you're welcome. I
This
hope you
was my
enjoyed
first
it.
time.
Yeah.
So,
And
excellent.
you did great for the first time.
Thank you. Thank you.
So, thank you so much for watching. Take care and see you next time. Bye.
Bye-bye.